The cruel origin. You are born in 1948, East Berlin. The rubble of the old world is still warm, and the air smells like burnt brick, boiled cabbage, and stale beer. Your family house is a nameless scattering of mud-stained ruins where famine comes often and the state stays silent. Your father is a ghost of the Wehrmacht, drinking more ale than he keeps food in the pantry, his eyes always calculating the cost of your existence. To him, you aren't a son. You are a burden, a pretty goat to be traded when the winter frost bites too hard. Your mother works her hands raw, scrubbing floors until her fingers bleed, trying to keep you alive on prayers and scraps. You don't remember much of childhood, only the hunger that made her chew sawdust-filled crusts to feed you like a bird. By age 5, you understand the household hierarchy. The strong eat, and the small wait for the stale rice. You grow up in a world of cracked mud floors where freedom is just wind passing through the thorn bushes. You learn to move like a shadow, quiet and disciplined, because in your house, laughter is a luxury that earns you extra chores and silence. You're a charity offering to a family that has nothing to spare, a mouth that consumes but does not produce. You watch your brothers chase each other through the gray streets, but you sit still, learning that stillness is survival. Your childhood doesn't end with a rite of passage. It ends when the state decides you are finally marketable. The tragic promotion, congratulations. You're 18, and while the rest of your generation is being chewed up in the factories, you've been betrothed to the party. A pale, plump official in a black leather coat eyes you like a butcher eyes a pig, checking your teeth and your loyalty. He doesn't offer a job. He offers a vocation in the Ministry for State Security. It's a lucky break, your father slurs, bowing so low he's practically eating the dirt in relief that you're finally someone else's problem. You're loaded into a black car that reeks of diesel, gasoline, and expensive tobacco. The transaction is cold, a signature on parchment you never see, trading your soul for a steady ration of bread and power. Your mother doesn't wave. She just looks at the floor like it might split open and swallow her. First stop, the training center, where they strip you bare in a room that smells of rotting petals and antiseptic. They treat you like something valuable, washing and inspecting you like a dog at a fair, before renaming you Agent 402. You are now state property, wrapped in a gray uniform that will stick to you like a bad habit. Fun, right? From the mud floor to a position of honor in a single morning. But you'll soon find that marble halls reek of rot and incense just as much as cellars. You've been upgraded, refined, and set on a path where you will never have to worry about a mud floor again, as long as you never stop learning to obey. The brutal refinement your training begins in a basement where the floors are warm as if soaked in other people's fear. This is the longest part of your death. They shear your old life away, your identity falling to the cold stone floor like locks of hair. Every morning begins with a bell at 4 a.m. that cleaves your dreams in half. If you're late, you kneel on salt. The instructors are carved from frost and scripture, believing obedience grows only where comfort dies. You learn 1,000 rules of how to survive the machine. Never flinch, never ask why, and always lower your gaze. They use psychological, ivory-polished rods to break your conscience until the bones of your morality heal crooked. You learn to breathe through the pain of betrayal. You're corrected with slaps and praised with warm water and extra crusts. You prefer the slaps because they make more sense. Your boyhood recedes into a mask painted with ideology and powder. They show you how to walk without sound, how to listen through walls, and how to endure the sight of silent weeping without recoiling. Every week, they insert new horrors into your mind. Lists of enemies, methods of isolation, and the smell of pungent incense used to cover the scent of the interrogation rooms. You learn that truth is whatever the party says it is, and you learn to fake laughter and fake tears to fit the script. By the time you are done, you are a velvet plum, sweet on the outside for the party, but a hard, dead stone within. The gilded cage, now you are at the peak. You sit above 10,000 citizens, yet you cannot choose your own breakfast. You are the fine gray wool and eat winter pears and salted meat while the rest of the city gnaws on sawdust. You are a trusted officer, a shadow in a cafe that smells of stale coffee, sweat, and fear. People stop breathing when you walk past. They look at the floor with eyes that don't blink. You have the perks, a private apartment, a phone, a car, but your life is a gilded cage. You are valuable but hollow, a statue of a man. Your new assignment is your best friend, Klaus, the one who shared stolen rice balls and whispered jokes with you through the thorn bushes. You sit in a room with a headset, listening to the sound of his clinking keys and his wife's silent weeping through the bugs you planted. You watch him through a pinhole, painting a mask of friendship over your face every time you meet for a beer. You listen to him talk about freedom, and you type it into a report that smells of ink and sandalwood. You are an obedient lapdog, faking the bond while your spies slide through the corridors like shadows. You know that one bad glance, one rumor in your report, will separate his pretty head from the rest of his body. It is virtue to the state, but surrender to the self. You carry yourself with lower eyes, faking a life while you breathe through the musk of shame that is soaked into your skin. The wind shifts in 1989, and it doesn't carry the scent of the freedom they're shouting about in the streets of East Berlin. No, it carries the acrid stench of burnt paper, chemical panic, and the cold sweat of 1,000 bureaucrats who realize too late that the walls have ears. And now, those ears are attached to a mob. For decades, you were the architect of the shadows, the one who understood that the state is a jealous god demanding total devotion. But now, the temple is being unstitched at the seams, and the transition from a precious asset to an overhead expense is a sudden, violent snap, as cold as a winter frost hitting a nameless mud brick village. You walk into the Ministry for State Security, the place where you once held the power to make an entire family tree vanish with a single stroke of your pen, and you feel the air change. The smell of expensive tobacco and high-octane gasoline that usually announced your arrival has been replaced by the smell of damp basements and unwashed anxiety. Your colleagues, the men you drank vodka with while listening to the recorded screams of enemies, won't meet your eyes. Their gazes are fixed on their shoes, which are suddenly very interesting. You're summoned to a quieter hallway, the one where the linoleum is cracked and the fluorescent lights hum with the sound of a dying insect. You enter the office of the chief, a man you once saw as a father figure, someone who praised your beautifully obedient nature. He doesn't look up from his desk. He is busy shredding files, your files. He says you've had a good run. His voice is flat and clinical as a butcher's invoice. But the run is over, and the truth you've spent a lifetime manufacturing has become a noose. Congratulations. You've just been upgraded to a liability. They don't give you a farewell speech or a pension. Instead, they strip you of your status with a speed that makes your head spin. They take your black leather coat, the symbol of your authority that made you feel like a god, and replace it with a single, thin, robeless coat that smells of mothballs and wet wool. They take your boots, the ones that used to click with such terrifying precision on the cold stone floors, and leave you in your socks. They gesture toward the back alley, the one used for taking out the trash, and tell you not to come back. Fun, right? You walk out into the night, and for the first time, you're truly invisible. You're a used object, a pretty goat that has been milked dry and is now being sent to the slaughter. You pass the very cafes where you once sat in the corner, recording the whispers of your friends, but now those friends are the ones holding the torches. You pass Klaus's apartment, the man you watched through a pinhole for years, and you realize that to him, you are just a ghost in a black coat who tried to steal his soul. You try to find a safe place, but there is no safety for a shadow when the lights are turned on. You return to the ruins of your childhood home, hoping for a shred of the filial piety you were once taught, but when you knock, your father, the man who once weighed your cost against a bag of flour, doesn't open the door. He yells through the wood that you have shamed the family name, that you are a witch who brought the curse of the state upon them. He slams the deadbolt, and you are left standing in the mud, breathing through the musk of shame that has soaked into your very skin. You are banished to the outskirts, where the city spits out its rot. You sleep in doorways, curled into a ball like an unwanted flower, drinking melted ice from the gutters. Your body begins to rot from the inside out from the years of stress and the cold that never leaves your bones. The pain is back, the stinging pain of the ivory rods of your training, but now there's no one to praise your discipline. You realize that the ledger of your life has been closed, and it was written in the blood and silence of those you betrayed. The final erasure. Your end arrives in a room that history has already decided does not exist. It is a gray room, a windowless box that smells of damp concrete, old blood, and moldy straw. There is no trial to document your service, no candlelit vigil to mark your passing, and no miracle waiting to pull you from the abyss. You lie on a straw pallet infested with lice, your knees bruised and your spine curved from years of bowing to a machine that never knew your name. You wait for a summons that will never come, realizing the sandalwood and incense of the banquets you once attended were just incense to cover the rot of the empire. Your breath becomes a struggle, a labored thing that sounds like clinking chains in the dark. You die quietly when your lungs simply stop biting at the air, the cold finally winning its long war against your flesh. You expire with your eyes half open, still looking for someone to recognize you. But the only witness is a rat scurrying across the cold stone floor. By nightfall, the collectors arrive, the men who handle the unrecorded screams of history. They don't ask your name. They don't care that you were once a favorite of the machine or that you were chosen for your talent. To them, you're just shroudless baggage, a pretty goat that has finally stopped squalling. They don't treat your body with crushed pearl and rose water. They treat it like the luggage your father once traded for coins. They lift you by your wrists and ankles, your limbs dangling with a pathetic hollow weight. They toss you onto a pile of stiff bodies in the back of a rattling cart, your skin brushing against the cold, blue flesh of a drunk and a thief. As the car jerks over the cobblestones, your head strikes a stranger's ribs with a dull, sickening thud, but no one flinches. The world outside is moving on. The smell of wood smoke and boiled cabbage drifting from the windows of people who are already forgetting your face. The cart rattles to a mass pit behind the city wall, a trench dug for the used objects of the revolution. There is no shroud to cover your nakedness, no prayer to guide your soul, and no marker to tell the world that a human being is buried here. You are dumped into the dark, the cold mud claiming you alongside the very enemies you helped create. The dirt is shoveled over you with a clinical efficiency, sealing you into a final silence that no historian will ever care to break. When the histories are written, they will celebrate the great heroes who stood on the barricades, but they will never mention you. Your name will not appear in the census. It will be a gap in the records, a faint smudge of ink that was wiped away before the page could dry. You left behind no family, no children, and no legacy. Only the faintest dent in a mattress you slept on, a hollow space that will be filled by another unwanted flower by dawn. You were the perfect instrument, beautifully obedient, intensely wanted when they needed a shadow, and utterly discarded when the sun rose. You were a queen in your own mind, a shadow in a black coat. But in the end, you were just a ghost in a city of mirrors. You learn, in the crushing weight of the earth above you, that the honor of the state is just a gilded cage, and the only thing more terrifying than being watched is being forgotten. History remembers the art, the costumes, and the floating world of the empire, but it rarely remembers the cost of the meat that kept the gears turning. You are the cost. You are the ink that was wiped away. You are the tang of rot in the winter wind. Luck's fine until they decide it's your turn to be the ghost, right?